Hey everybody, it's Daniel here from Snorkel, here to review the 2017 version of It. Obviously everybody knows the old one that came out years ago. It's really a classic, to be honest with you. So when they announced the new It, everybody was like, oh, they could really do something with this. It's a classic franchise, they can bring it back to life here and see what they can do with it. I was super excited to see. I know I was really looking forward to see this one. The theater that we saw it in, it was the first showing in the town here. And the theater was really packed, so I think that the original one had so many fans. People know Stephen King, people know It, and clowns have been in the news a lot recently, surprisingly, for scary things. So I think all that kind of culminated to getting a big audience. Starting off, the movie actually does a really good job of building Derry, the town that they're in, and kind of building that world that the movie is in, getting us to see what these kids are going through. They do a good job of getting us emotionally invested, if you will, in these kids. They punch you right in the gut early on, obviously, with the little boy disappearing, and then you love that older brother the rest of the movie, obviously, and you kind of feel where he's coming from, wanting to find his little brother. And obviously, like, the girl that's getting picked on at school and all the boys are getting picked on, they really do a good job of putting you in their shoes and making you, bringing back to your childhood, you know, when you're a boy, obviously, and you like see a girl and those emotions that you get, or if you're a girl and you see a guy and those emotions you get when you're young. They do a good job of, you know, bringing you back to your childhood, wanting to go play at the arcade, wanting to go, you know, hang out with your friends, wanting to get away from your overbearing parents, and just wanting to go enjoy adventures, if you will, with your friends, riding your bike and all that kind of stuff. Also, the last day of school, obviously, it's a great feeling, and they did a really good job of kind of showing that at the beginning of the movie, that the kids were really good friends. Even though they like picked on each other a little bit, they were really good friends. The cast in this movie is really, really good. The younger kids, they get quite a bit of time to shine. All their personalities come through. It's legitimately hilarious. One of the funniest movies I've seen all year. And there's legitimately, involved with Pennywise, there's legitimately some terrifying imagery in this movie that's kind of had some people in the theater like legitimately freaked out. I heard quite a few people like scream out at certain points. So it was pretty crazy, actually, the imagery that they showed, some of it. But it wasn't gory by any means. I don't want people to think that it's like gory or they're like trying to go over the top too much. They did a really good job of just kind of showing Pennywise and how freaky he can be, basically. Having said that, my biggest gripe with the movie is actually Pennywise and the whole concept of that character. I don't really understand. He's not a physical being, if you will. If you don't believe in his fear, he can't hurt you necessarily. Or I guess he can make you float, but he can't physically hurt you, I guess. Yet he has been able to basically kidnap a bunch of children, or even adults, I guess, at certain points, and done some horrible things throughout history in this town, Derry, in Maine. But he's not a physical being, as far as we can tell, and it kind of just reminds me of like Freddy Krueger, if you will, like when you fall asleep and he can attack you and you can actually die. But in this case, in It, if you believe in his fear, he can hurt you. I really don't get it. I thought it would have been a lot better if Pennywise, the dancing clown, was like a physical, like a literal monster, and they could have even kept him to look the same, but he could have been like a physical monster that could have even attacked the adults and like really terrorize this town. I thought they could have brought that in a new direction, if you will, because it just doesn't carry over. Because if this is very similar or the same as it was 20, 30 years ago, it's just not as scary, you know, in today's audiences, I would say. My audience definitely, as freaked out as they were at times, it was more of a funny movie than anything. It was like, because it is a legitimately hilarious movie, like I mentioned earlier. So I felt like overall people were scared, but it was way outweighed by the hilariosity, if you will, of the movie. Overall, that was a big misstep. It was way too long. It easily could have been 20 to 30 minutes shorter. The characters were horribly underdeveloped. Some of even the main cast of the kids were completely underdeveloped. You just got like maybe 5 minutes, if you will, of backstory on each one. If you didn't even get more than a couple, you know, lines of dialogue to show their backgrounds and whatnot. And I thought that, you know, that didn't serve the movie well. As long as the movie was, I think they could have put a lot more effort into building those characters earlier on. There were some really good moments, but overall it was just way too long, and the fact that they underdeveloped the characters so much really hurt, because some of the characters got a chance to shine on and some of them didn't, given that there was legitimately terrifying imagery in this movie, and also given that it was extremely funny, legitimately funny, and it showed how kids really are when they're little. And like most adults know, like, oh, were my kids like this when they're little? Yeah, we really were. We were like cursing all the time and wanting to look at girls and wanting to go play video games and hang out with friends and get away from our overbearing parents. They did such a good job showing that aspect of it, but then they also had the aspect where it was too long, and they Pennywise, that character, and I get he was like feeding on your fears and stuff like that, but overall they could have done something different and new and fresh with it. I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. It just did not live up to the hype for me, even though some of the aspects were really good, and I think the kids did a really good job with the material they had. It could have been so much better. I don't want anybody to think that they shouldn't go watch it. It's legitimately a hilarious movie. You definitely check it out at some point. It's worth a watch. Also, go check, I'm going to put in the link, our trailers for it. We did 2 trailer reactions. Those will be in the description as well. Obviously, if you've already seen the movie, it can be fun to go back and watch the trailer reactions at sometimes. Actually, one of them is one of our biggest videos we've ever done, so please go check that one out as well. It'll be in the description. Go watch and give us a thumbs up on all of our videos. We do appreciate it, guys. We have tons of stuff coming up in the next couple weeks, as I always say. We do appreciate you once again. My name is Daniel for Snorkel, and we'll see you next time.